The jury now seated in Hunter Biden's federal gun trial. The president's son back in court in Wilmington, Delaware for today's proceedings. First Lady Jill Biden also attending, seated in the front row to show the family's support. President Biden was not there, but released a statement saying he has boundless love for his son and confidence in him. Hunter Biden facing 3 felony charges after prosecutors say he lied on a federal form indicating he wasn't using drugs when he bought a revolver handgun in 2018, during a period where he admits that he was addicted to crack. The charges carry a maximum sentence of 25 years in prison if he's convicted. This is the first time a sitting president's child has been put on trial, and political analysts say it could impact President Biden's re-election campaign. I'll speak with a senior spokesperson for the Biden-Harris campaign in just a moment. But first, joining me now with more, ABC News investigative reporter Olivia Rubin, live outside that Delaware courthouse, along with ABC News legal contributor and trial attorney Brian Buckmeyer. Olivia, okay, so we have the 12 jurors and 4 alternates now seated, but what can you tell us about today's proceedings?
Well, it was quite quick to seat a jury of 12 and 4 alternates, the parties all moving very quickly to quiz these Delaware residents about their views about Hunter Biden, about the case, about gun laws in this country, about their political views, about addiction, all aspects that are going to be key when it comes to this case. So to the 12 jurors who have now been seated, there are 7 males and 5 females, and I'm just quickly rattling off to you a bit about them as we just ran out of court. A number of them, I would note, have family members who have struggled with addiction. A number of them are personal gun owners. For example, juror number 2 is a woman who actually worked for the Secret Service for nearly 25 years. Her husband was also a uniformed officer in D.C., stationed at places like the Capitol and the White House. He is a gun owner. There is another individual who said he has concealed carry licenses in multiple states. He has owned 6 guns throughout his life. Currently, he owns 3, and said, quote, "I believe the Second Amendment is very important." And there was also a woman who said that her family hunts and she has grown up around rifles. She said that her childhood best friend died from an overdose and had struggled with addiction before that. And that was someone who Hunter Biden sort of nodded along with as she was telling her story. So some deeply personal stories told about this jury, who in some ways can likely relate to Hunter Biden's situation.
Well, and Brian, look, I mean, we'd heard that the defense was probably going to be looking for jurors that would be sympathetic to addiction struggles. But we know the prosecution is also going to try to use, or likely trying to use, messages from a 2021 memoir to prove that Hunter Biden was addicted or using between October 2023 and, or excuse me, October 12th, 2023, and, or excuse me, the 12th through the 23rd of 2018. But I'm curious, what are the challenges with that strategy?
Yeah, so as you're saying, Alex, some of the challenges are trying to get those past statements, or sorry, those future statements, specifically the memoir, and there's also a text message that government is going to try to use to say that Hunter Biden at that time said he was using. But I think that's going to be difficult for the government, because if Hunter Biden, for example, was to take the stand and say, when I wrote that memoir in 2021, looking back, I understood that after October, I fell off the wagon. But if you're talking about Hunter Biden on October 12th of 2018, when he signed that document and spoke to that dealer, he had already been on an 11-day rehab and was now with, I think they call it a sober companion. When he signed that document, he was truthful at that time. And having people who understand addiction understand that you can be sober and not using for a time, quote unquote, fall off the wagon, and then be sober again. But at that specific time, I think he has the ability to argue, I was sober and not using, and being truthful at that time.
Olivia, we also expect the prosecution to call around a dozen witnesses, including Biden's ex-wife, also Haley Biden, who was romantically involved with Hunter after his brother Beau's death. Look, I mean, there'll be some that look at this as potentially a strategy to air the family's dirty laundry and likely distract President Biden. Is that fair?
That would be incorrect. The individuals that, are being called here have ties to the case. Hallie Biden is being called because she was quite literally the one who discovered the gun that Hunter Biden had purchased and threw it in the trash. So it doesn't appear that, they are just trying to call anyone and everyone. They certainly are not calling Jill Biden. They certainly are not calling Hunter's current wife. They certainly are not calling any of the other grandkids, but they have appeared at least to identify those who are tied to the case and who will have relevant information to offer for the jury as the government tries to prove this case. And the question, of course, then will be, who does Hunter Biden call? Does he put on any case at all?
Well, all right, and Brian, lastly here, are the charges against Hunter Biden unusual?
They're unusual in the sense that we don't typically see charges like this, because look at what the government's evidence is. It's the use of his memoir and text messages, and also that just the majority of people in this country know that the former president's son has a difficulty with addiction, especially over a period of time. But 9 times out of 10 for the average citizen, the addiction that a person may suffer from may be protected under HIPAA laws, or they might just be personal comments between family members who are not reporting individuals that someone bought a gun. So it's unusual in the sense of you don't typically get this information that is so public that can be used to prosecute someone for purchasing a firearm.
All right, Olivia Rubin and Brian Buckmeyer, thank you both.